World Cup round of 16 has changed my entire perspective on who the GOAT is in football, man. Because I'm starting to realize my whole life, I've been lied to. And even for you, your whole life, even you might have been lied to. Because it's like, I feel like, I'm starting to feel like I've been programmed, I've been wired growing up to believe that Messi has been this sort of player, or is quote unquote the GOAT. You know what I mean? And what you know this round of 16 clash Argentina versus Egypt has kind of showed me, essentially it's opened my eyes. I've seen the light. I've finally seen the light. I hear what the other side has been saying all this time. And bro, Argentina's controversial win against Egypt has sparked a lot of debate, a lot of clashing on the internet and whatnot. It was controversial as heck, right? A lot of refereeing decisions going their way. Egypt's being hard done by. Man, it's like, it's very reminiscent. That game, in my opinion, was very reminiscent of the Argentina game against the Netherlands in the last World Cup, and even against Cape Verde. Argentina were very fortunate, but throughout the tournament, or even in a couple of games in the last World Cup, it does feel like referee decisions have been like leaning towards, Argentina for quite a while. And in my opinion, I think there's one reason to that. There's one player, Lionel Messi, to help benefit Lionel Messi. That's what I think. That's how I've been feeling lately. It's like FIFA, and the higher ups in general, like they're going out of their way to make Messi this guy, or to make Messi him, the guy, right? And it's like in any industry or in any field in life. I'm not talking about ball now. I'm talking about just in life in general. Listen, there's always been that one guy that has been seen, coming up, that has been favourite or liked by the higher ups. In any field, there's always been that guy that's seen as the golden child, or the prodigy, right? In any field. I believe it's like that in any industry. Even in some of like your favorite TV shows or animes, for example, that you guys watch, or books that you even read, there's probably characters, right, that are coming up. They're not evil, but because they're kind of going against the grain of salt, they're kind of going against the norm, they're kind of going against their main character, right, or the golden child or the prodigy. They're kind of painted out to be the villain, even though originally they may have not started the villain, or they may not actually be the real villain, right? I'm gonna stick to sports, but I feel like you can see that in any industry, in real life, in your workplace, maybe not even workplace, but like, I don't know, in like your chosen field of interest, in entertainment, in TV shows, even in books in general, in fiction, non-fiction, in life, right? But I'm gonna stick to sports. For example, basketball, for my basketball enthusiasts. I also post a couple of basketball bids on this channel, self promo right here. It's like in basketball, Michael Jordan, he's been picked as the guy, to be the guy. This is the GOAT. Anyone who comes close to it, or anyone who deviates from it, anyone who thinks like this, your opinions are being pushed down. We're here to elevate this guy. This guy is. We've selected them to be the guy. That's who people like in general. I don't know who, but essentially, Jordan's been selected to be the GOAT in it. And I feel like LeBron's came along. LeBron's entire career, bro, he's been painted out as the villain since LeBron, right, came in that hype. Since what? LeBron came in the league, he didn't go college, right? Straight out of high school. So coming out straight out of high school, since being a kid, they've seen LeBron's talents, right? To be, like in the next 10, 15 years, this guy could rival Michael Jordan's status. They were clocking it with LeBron. He's the most talented. He was the most prodigy like talent the NBA or basketball has ever seen. And he had that huge amount of pressure dumped onto him. And then throughout LeBron's time in the NBA, as he continued to grow, as he continued to improve strength to strength, right? He was painted out to be the villain because he went against what people saw as their goal. He went against the grain of salt, as what I've been saying in this video, right? He went against Michael Jordan. He's been deviating against Michael Jordan, and he's threatened that belief that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. If you ask me, LeBron is the GOAT of basketball. LeBron James, 100%. And I just feel like there's always that golden child, and Messi has been painted out to be that golden child. Where I feel like Ronaldo, on the other hand, he ain't really had to be put on a pedestal like Messi has been, or we haven't really been forced to give Ronaldo his flowers like we have been programmed to give Messi his flowers. Like the way they talk about Messi, yeah, like, I'm not sure if you guys clocked it. The way they talk about Messi in some of these coverages is like, it's like, God forbid, but like, I don't want this to sound blasphemous, but they talk about this guy like he's some god fam. You know what I mean? Like I don't really hear that kind of like talk with Ronaldo, if you know what I mean. And it feels like Messi's always, kind of been put on that pedestal, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I do feel like, in the last 20 years or so, like when Messi and Ronaldo were coming up, when they kind of saw those two guys as, the next guys to lead on from the generations of the Ronaldinhos, the Kakas and Zidanes and those guys, I felt like they kind of handpicked Messi as to be the guy, to be the golden one, you know what I'm saying? I felt like they kind of picked him. And that point became clear to me with the Ballon d'Or case, for example, right? It's like they forcefully tried to force Messi to be this guy. The Ballon d'Ors, man. You know, Messi has had a couple of controversial Ballon d'Ors. I ain't gonna lie. He's had like a good 2, 3, maybe even 4 Ballon d'Ors where you sit back and it's like, yo, like, should you have really won that, big dog? And by the way, I'm not making this video to shit on Messi because Messi, obviously, hard work and whatnot. I'm not trying to say that, oh, Messi is 100%, you know, everything in his career has been given to him. I don't want to come across like that. Like, he hasn't had to work for shit. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm just trying to say, like, yo, I feel like Ronaldo has, kind of been rubbed to the wrong side. And I do kind of feel like, yo, he has a claim to be the GOAT. And I've seen that. I've seen that over the last few years. And around the 16 against Egypt has just finally opened my eyes for reasons that I'm going to continue to explain. It's like, but the Ballon d'Ors though, it's like Messi's 2, 3, 4 Ballon d'Ors he's had. Like the one in 2023, Haaland, was he really the best player in the world? Me personally, I don't think so. Haaland had the stupid first season, crazy first season with Man City, treble winner, all of that, And I feel like for all of that to be undone by a couple of matches in the FIFA World Cup, I know the World Cup is every 4 years, but it's like, I feel like Haaland got hard done by. And another one, in my opinion, recently, 2019, there was no way, bro. I feel like we've always been told that the Ballon d'Or winner has to win like the Champions League or has to win the World Cup. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, yeah, I did feel like that rule kind of got violated a bit because it's like, I felt like the goalpost got kind of moved a bit because like during the last 10, 15 years, it's like the guy who's won the Champions League or who has won the World Cup when the World Cup was played that year has always had a strong, like if they performed very well or even won the competition, they've always had a strong chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. They were gonna be the favorite to win the Ballon d'Or. I felt like that got violated, and I felt like goalpost again got moved in favor of Messi, right? Well, not rightly so, but it's been based on how it's been awarded over the last few years. Consistency obviously matters, so you're expecting it to be consistent, but no, they moved the goalpost for Messi. Van Dijk wins the Champions League in 2019. Not a single player dribbled past him that entire year. In my opinion, it's the greatest year for a defender in the sport's history. There will never be a better defender. I don't want to say never, but there has never been in the history of football a better defender than Van Dijk in 2019. He should have won a Ballon d'Or. Quite frankly, he was the best player in the world. If I'm not mistaken, took Netherlands as the captain to the finals of the Nations League as well that same year. So it's like, bro, he was phenomenal that year. In my opinion, the best player on the football pitch in general. And they gave the Ballon d'Or to Messi. So it's like Messi has had a couple of like controversial calls, a couple of controversial Ballon d'Ors. Like the Ballon d'Or case, them kind of elevating Messi, them kind of like moving the goalpost a bit for Messi, not so much for Ronaldo. Because Ronaldo, if you ask me, all of Ronaldo's Ballon d'Ors, not one could you sit there and say, yo, he's fleeced my man, or like, yo, he's fleeced this guy, he's fleeced that player. There's not one. I feel like the only one you might like critique or might say, yo, should Ronaldo have won that one, was the one in 2013, if you ask me. Maybe that one was a bit controversial. But other than that, like not one Ballon d'Or can you sit there and say like, yo, Ronaldo shouldn't have not won that one. I feel like with Messi, there's a couple you can make the claim, So yeah. Like, I ain't gonna lie. One thing I just want to throw out there, this might be a bit petty of me, or this might be me just being a bit bitter, but I can't ignore this. I think this is just a stain on Messi's career, in my opinion, where if it happened to Ronaldo, we wouldn't hear the end of it. Messi promised Barcelona a Champions League, by the way. I remember that he sat there, the Catalonians, the Catalans, he sat the Barca fans, you know what I'm saying, in the stadium, promising them a Champions League, and I promised them a ring. They're still waiting for the Champions League, big dog. They're still waiting for the Champions. They're still sitting there waiting for the Champions League, big dog. Bro, have you clocked? Ever since he said that shit, Barcelona have never been the same club ever again. Financial turmoil, bankruptcy, bad performances, and I mean, they're now starting to win the Liga again, but they're starting to find their feet again with Lamy, Yamal. But they even became a laughing stock in Europe, like having a couple of seasons in Europa League, playing in Champions League, getting thrashed. Like the comeback with Roma, the Greek god Manolas. You know what I'm saying? The comeback, Liverpool tie, like, oh my days. Bro, if you ask me, yeah, that Liverpool tie, that comeback, 3-0 comeback, does not happen if Ronaldo was playing. In my opinion, if you ask me, maybe Roma might happen, but I don't think Ronaldo allows 3-0 Liverpool. I don't think he allows that. I don't think he allows that. Like, Ronaldo is the biggest game player, I think, in football you could ever have on your team. He's the biggest game player. He's missed the Champions League for a reason. I just don't see, I don't know, man. I don't think 3-0 Liverpool happens if that was Ronaldo. I ain't gonna lie, chat. You guys let me know. I don't think it happens. Like, yeah, man, like, how are you gonna promise your fans, like, how are you gonna promise everyone a Champions League just for you to choke a 3-0 lead against a Liverpool team without Mo Salah and Firmino? Like, that was a bit crazy. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know, I don't know. But it's like, let me talk about Ronaldo a bit more. Yeah, it's like if we do look through their careers, I've I do rate Ronaldo more, and it's like I've had this feeling for a couple of years now, but it's not until like lately or even now that I'm gonna say that yo, I'm a Ronaldo guy, or like yo, Ronaldo might be the guy. It's like it just feel like Ronaldo has always had to get it out the mud more than Messi, and in a sense, I believe that Ronaldo he's always been more up for the challenge than Messi. When you look at Messi, yes, he played for PSG, but he is kind of seen as like a one club guy, you know, like spent majority of his like 85%, 90% of his career in Barcelona. Way if you look at Ronaldo, not once has Ronaldo ever ducked a fade. This guy has played in 5 nations, won the league in 4 different countries. He ain't never ducked the fade, bro, and that's one thing I respect about Ronaldo. Um, it's like, and another thing that I respect about Ronaldo is the Premier League, in my opinion. I don't wanna if you're an international fan, yeah, or if you're a fan watching this from another country, I don't want this to come across as like English bias or just me just being cocky, right? But okay, I wouldn't say the best league, but I'll say the Premier League is the most competitive league, like it's the most difficult, hardest league, if you guys know what I mean. Like you're not gonna have every weekend the threat of, you know what I mean? Like 16th place in the Premier League, absolutely popping off the park, Man City. You're not gonna have that threat in Germany with the Bundesliga, like the 16th place, like Freiburg or I don't know, you know what I mean, or like Toulouse beating PSG or Bayern Munich. Like it could happen, like maybe once or twice a season, but bro, every weekend there's that threat in the Premier League. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's the most difficult, most unpredictable league, right? It's the hardest league, and I feel like for Ronaldo to do what he done in the Premier League, not just playing the Premier League, he absolutely dominated it, winning 1 Ballon d'Or here as well. It's like, bro, I just gave him more extra ratings for that, man. I just have to give him more extra ratings. Like when I look back at the Ronaldo highlights, it's like, oh, I just wish that I was born a couple of years earlier so I could have seen his first stint at Man United, because then maybe I would have been a Ronaldo guy much earlier. Like he was moving crazy, bro. His play style, yeah, the way he played, you can't play that in the Premier League. It was unique. Like the skills and whatnot. Like he couldn't do that in the Premier League. He found a way to do it, and he dominated in the Premier League. If you ask me, winning a Ballon d'Or as well, just to top it off. Like, bro, Ronaldo in the Premier League was insane. And do you want to know one time I clocked Ronaldo had motion? Yeah, this was when I clocked that Ronaldo's motion might be more than Messi's motion. You know, the second time Ronaldo came back to the Prem, the second time he came back to the Prem, um, but bear in mind, I'm a Liverpool fan. Liverpool. I'm a bro. When Ronaldo came back to the Prem, like I was so gassed. Like I was like Ronaldo coming to the Prem. I couldn't believe that shit. You know, I was celebrating that signing like it was a Liverpool signing. It was a big day. Like that was one of like the biggest footballing days I've ever had. Like when they brought the news Ronaldo coming back to Man United, because obviously he was rumored to go to Man City. But even then, regardless of whatever club he would have picked, I think I still would have been gassed just to see Ronaldo back in the Prem. That's when I knew I clocked his motion was more than Messi. And it's like, as a Liverpool fan as well, bear in mind, I was watching every Man United game because Ronaldo was on. Like, guys don't know about Man United versus that Ronaldo versus Spurs game or Man United versus Spurs game. He went crazy. He went crazy that game, bro. He went crazy. Like, I was watching every single Man United game. Like, that's when I was like, yo, as a Liverpool fan, by the way, I was like, yo, this guy's motion is different. I think he's the only guy that can have me like that. That's why I was like, yo, this guy's motion is crazy. It's crazy, bro. Like it was crazy. Like Ronaldo in the Prem was crazy. And it's like, if you actually do think about it, yeah, we know that the Premier League is the most difficult league. When you think about all the goats in football, like when you think about Ronaldo, Messi, R9, Johan Cruyff, Ronaldinho, Zidane, like when you think of all of those guys, all of like the guys you think are like the best to ever play the the best to ever kick a football, Pele, Maradona. When you think of those guys, the only one of them, you know, was able to come play in the Premier League, or one of them played in the Premier League, and he didn't just play again; he dominated in the Premier League. Cristiano Ronaldo winning 1 Ballon d'Or spot for them, bro. I actually think, yeah, if you ask me, I actually think, yeah, if you ask Ronaldo, out of all the Ballon d'Ors you've won in your career, which one would you say was your best one? I genuinely think he'll say the one he won with Man United. I think that one he won with Man United is better than was better than all of them. It's better than the what the fuck am I saying? It's better than the rest that he won with Real Madrid. I think that one he won with Man United tops all the ones he won with Real Madrid, if you ask me. And I think he might even say that himself. Like the one he won with Man United. Like when you actually do think it like that, when I actually think like that, I just have to give more ratings or more respect to Ronaldo. Like it's crazy. Out of all of those guys, he was the only one willing to play in the Prem. I've dragged on, fam. I think, yeah, bro, this video, I was just all over the place. To conclude, all I'm gonna say, like, what I essentially think is, yo, Messi ain't that guy. He ain't what I thought he was. I've been programmed. I've been lied to. Ronaldo, that guy. He a real nigga. He that guy. He might be the GOAT.